Welcome to another exciting edition of Ham Radio Perspectives.
Oh, we're nothing but excited.
Oh, we're excited. We're excited. Right. I'm Tom, WA9TDD, and
my spouse hasn't told me that for a long time, but that's okay. We'll carry on here. I'm Quinn, K8QS. We are the Dit and Dub brothers, if you want to know that. And this is a great topic, getting rid of noise. We all got this noise out there. We want to talk about how to reduce or eliminate external noise. That is from neighborhood sources, not noise that's coming in your house like a crying kid or some other source in the house, you know, but noise that comes in from the outside, RF type noise. So this is what we're going to talk about here is how do you go about, what's the process for doing this? We'll tell tales. I'll tell most of the tales because Tom gets to live in a rural area most of the year. In fact, you got the birds going after you again there, Tom. And I am able to live here in a semi-urban area where I got all kinds of noise. So here's the process. You've got noise. You don't know if it's coming from the outside, maybe down your antenna, or it's from inside the power line within your house or something. What do you do? So the first thing you do is get a battery source of power for your rig. All right, get a battery. It doesn't have to be a super duper battery, but some type of battery, like I have one that I also use to give a jolt to my car if the battery goes dead. I can run it on 4 or 5 hours with the 7300 on receive, and get yourself a battery and run the rig on the battery, and then turn off the main circuit breaker. And if you turn off that main circuit breaker so there's no internal noise coming from your house, all the circuits are off, and you still got the noise out there, you know it's external. That's one quick way to get down to that. And I've had to do that multiple times because sometimes it was something in the house, and then I would go through each of the circuit breakers separately in the house to find out which one it was and then solve the problem there. But we're talking about external or neighborhood sources. Power line. Now, power line noise is really, really something, isn't it? It's a kind of arcing that takes place out there on utility poles. It's a classic source of severe RFI. Loose hardware, cracked insulators, failing transformers, they all can create a loud buzzing hash that especially peaks on dry, windy days or damp, foggy mornings. So this is classical power line noise. So Tom, I went through the test, determined it wasn't in the house here, and I thought, how am I going to locate this stuff? So here's the process that I used for the power line noise. I went out and I got in my car because cars have good AM radios. And I turned to a spot on the AM dial where there was no signal, and you will pick up a lot of power line noise. In fact, if you take your car, put it on an AM frequency where there are no stations, and just drive around town, you're going to be going under power lines, past transformers. You're going to be picking up noise left and right. So you want to drive that car around the block or 2 block area and see if you can locate approximately where that noise is. For me, it always works. I can get it in the general spot. So I know that's approximately where it is. Then I go to the next step. And Tom, the next step is the killer. Are you ready for this?
Yep. Is it the AM radio?
It's the AM radio.
Yeah, the AM radio.
Okay, so I use this one. If it's still available, I'll put a link down below. I love it because it also has shortwave and all. So if I'm picking up the noise, especially on a particular frequency, you rascal. Okay. Okay. So if I've got it on a particular frequency, let's say 3762, I can put this thing on 3762 and then run around. But the nice thing about this on AM, straight AM, is it's got the ferrite loop antenna. So I drove around. I found an area where there were 3 different poles. It was probably coming from one of those. And then I started walking around with this, and I found the exact pole, and I could tilt it up right at the transformer up there. That's the sucker. That's the sucker. So then I called the power company, and they filled out a little form and said someone would be back in touch with me. I had my doubts about it. But a couple of days later, I got a call from the guy who's in charge of this whole issue in this part of town. He said, what do you got? And I said, well, first of all, I'm a ham radio operator. I have an engineering background. He said, okay, stop right there. He said, the vast majority of people who call in are calling something in bogus. You know, they think it's from a windmill somewhere or whatever. He says, what do you got? I told him what I did with the car. I said, I got the radio out there. He said, tell me the exact location, the street number, the house that's there, and I'll meet you there in 90 minutes. So he comes up with the truck. I'm there with the radio, and he says, show me what you got. And I showed him, and he said, all right, we're going to get a truck back out here tomorrow. We're going to go up and fix it. And they did. It was like that. Nailed it. Just using the car. Once I determined it was outside, it was a power pole and the radio. Now, you can also use the radio for all kinds of other noise sources, and Tom is going to talk about the next one.
All right. The other one that's infecting us, particularly in the rural area now, is solar panel inverters. We're getting massive fields of solar panels out here, both residential and commercial. And the solar power systems have these large inverters that generate a substantial amount of RF noise if it's not properly filtered and grounded by the installer. And a lot of them are using really cheap components, and it's usually the inverter. And these things sound like somebody in your backyard is powering a big AC generator, welder unit, whatever. I mean, it just makes an incredible noise.
A hash.
It's not the hash. It's not the typical 60 cycles that you're going to get off of an AC power line. I think it's more like 120 cycle, and then they filter it down to 60 cycle per minute for household use. But boy, are they annoying, and they're growing all over the place. And you use the same technique that Quinn had mentioned, using the AM radio, drive around the neighborhood, find out whose it is, and there you because it's not a public utility, then you have a problem identifying the noise and getting somebody out there to do something about it.
Yes, that's the issue. So one of my ham buddies about 2 miles from me called me because he knows I've tracked down a lot of noise for different hams. He called me, he said, I got a problem that suddenly showed up. And I said, okay, I'll be over in a minute. And I drove over with the car, and I could hear the noise as I pulled up near his home on the car radio. Then I got out with my trusty transistor radio, good old days, and knocked on his door. And I said, okay, let's go around. So we determined it was coming from a neighbor's house on one side, and then it was up to him to decide how to talk to the neighbor. But here's the thing. If it's relatively new, you see their solar lights up there, or solar panels that weren't there before. It's relatively new, and you're getting noise from it. Typically, there will be a warranty involved, and they can call up the company and say, hey, I've got a neighbor who's got some RF interference. Can you come out and do it? And typically, they will have some type of better quality inverter that they can use that will take care of that. Okay. So another source is a grow light. And I'm surprised how many grow lights people have these days, given the fact that in a lot of states you can buy Marihuchi, free at these shops. But it still seems that a lot of people are either with their gardens, they're starting their garden inside early in the spring, or they're growing their own marijuana. But in any case, there are a lot of grow lights out there, and it's the same process you go through, and you can typically narrow it down to coming from a house. And I have done this, gotten down to a particular house, and then the ham talked to the neighbor, and they said, oh, yeah, we've suddenly got grow lights. And they didn't say what they were using the grow lights for, but they had them. It can produce a very strong localized and very broadband noise. I mean, you hear it across everything. You get one of these things and you start tuning across different bands, and it's there for practically everything. You know, it's Tom, it's kind of like the spark gap, right?
Yeah. And speaking of spark gap, out here in the country, we have the rural equivalent. It's called an electric fence. And a short or an arc or a bad ground, which occasionally, more than likely, what the problem is on an agricultural or pet containment electric fence system, will produce a rhythmic ticking interference because the electric fences charge and they discharge, and they constantly charge and discharge. It's not a steady flow of current. And usually the problem is somewhere along the line, you have a ground, which may be at the far end of the line, more than likely typical, going actually into the ground, and it's a bad connection. It's either a bad connection or a bad ground or a corroded ground rod or something that's causing this intermittent sparking. And these are very difficult to find because, number one, you don't have a utility pole to track them down. And number two, they could be covering 600 acres, which is a square mile. So it's hard to differentiate where along that line you're actually radiating from. So the best you could do is locate it, use the AM radio trick, try and contact the landowner, and see if they're willing to help you. That's
Excellent.
about all you can do.
Right. I'm going to go back to the power line issue because, as I said, when you drive around on AM without a local signal, you'll hear all these power issues all over the place. So I started getting some very strange sounding racket. And I said, okay, I'm going to find where this is coming from. And I did the usual thing, turned off the main circuit breaker, got the battery on the rig, and it was still there. So I went out with the radio. And I was in my backyard with the radio, and I'm trying to do it directionally like this, but I noticed if I turned it horizontal downward, it was stronger. So it was in the ground. And I thought, this is crazy. What's going on here? So I started following it along the ground, pretty easy to do. And I followed it all the way across the street to a electrical box, one of these big honking green electrical connection points for about 6 or 8 homes in the area that was in my neighbor's yard. And I could get right there up to it and knew it was coming from there. And it was coming down the line toward me as well, getting up into the antenna. It was RF. And I thought, what am I going to do? So I called the power company. Same thing. When I first called this time, though, they were a little skeptical because apparently some people think there are strange monsters out there that are creating noise or they hear sounds or something. So I said, hey, I'm a ham radio operator. This is legitimate and so on. I tracked it down. So again, I got a call back from them and they said, give us the address that's in front of, and we're going to be out there within the next 24 hours. Well, they were out there the same day. They came in the evening. I saw them pull up. I walked across the street, and they were standing there. I said, have you tested anything yet? They said, no, we're just getting there now. And I had my radio with me, and I gave them a little blast. And they said, oh, that's interesting. So they then did their tests, and they said, we got a bad connection down here. We're going to have to take care of it. They spent about 6 hours into the night. This was in the summer with lights and all. They dug down, I would say, about 4.5 feet, Tom, and they had to replace a piece of the wiring that was connected at the base of that big box out there. And it surprised me because when they got down there, they said it was aluminum. I didn't know they were using, it was big round aluminum. And so they had to replace a piece, and that knocked it out. That took care of it. They were very grateful that I called in because this could have produced other problems as well, or it could have put all of the homes here down. So these exterior sources of RF can be tracked down. Most power companies will help you out if you explain that you know something about technology when you call in and you're not some kind of crank. That's the issue. So Not to say that hams can't be cranks too. I don't want to go there. We've been cranky on this channel occasionally. So we hope this helps you. If you like what we're doing with Ham Radio Perspectives here, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Post some comments down below. Ask questions if we can help you with something. We've not covered all the sources, but some of the major sources that are likely to be the culprits. I'm Quinn, K8QS.
Tom, W89TDD.
73, everybody.